Hi, welcome to another Chris EV Road Trips video. And today I've got Ian from One Infinite Planet to talk about BYD in 2024. Ian, how are you going tonight?
Good, thank you. Afraid the planet's not infinite, it's finite.
I'm sorry?
Afraid the planet's not infinite, it's only finite.
Oh, finite, yes, of course. Bad reader tonight. Got to put my glasses on. Alrighty, so what we're going to talk about tonight is BYD in 2024. So predominantly in Australia, we're expecting 4 models out, and it's April now. So it's going to be hard for them to get 4 models out this year, but we'll see what we can do. But I think there's one coming next month. Is that right, Ian? The CLU?
It's already with journalists. They've got an embargo on it until I think it's the 16th. I'm not sure. I have to check the date.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's correct.
16th or 19th or something.
And I did see
May, which is I was going to search for it where it was May 16th. Yes. So that's when the press embargo ends.
Yeah. Is that when they're going to release the pricing and on the 16th of May?
Assuredly. Yeah. What day of the week is the 16th of May?
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't know. Anyway, I think
it's a Thursday, so it's quite feasible that that's when they'll release it. Maybe the Friday. They may release it the next day, actually.
Yeah. So all I know is that there's going to be 2 motor options, I believe, and one's the 72 kilowatt hour petrol motor, and
well, that's the generator motor. Yeah. That's sort of the electric generator. Oh, the gasoline generator, really. I mean, the vehicle's powered by the electric motors.
Yes. So now we're entering the new world of hybrids. So we've got to think differently about how car engines work now. I guess now we've got to
it's a different type of hybrid to the normal one we're used to. So the normal one, the petrol engine provides most of the power and the electric motors provide a boost. But in this one, the electric engines provide basically all the power. And in normal operation, the gasoline engine is just generating electricity.
Yeah, so the petrol engine is a 100 kilowatt motor. So do we assume that's going to put roughly nearly 100 kilowatts into the battery per hour? Is that how it works?
Well, it depends what you're doing. Some of the time, not all the power is going into the battery. It's going straight to the electric motors.
Yeah.
So when you're cruising along the highway, it actually switches over. But, in a lot of conditions, when the gasoline engine's running, it's actually sending power directly to the electric motors in order to power the vehicle. So when you're off-roading in difficult terrain, that's what's going to happen.
Yep. So that's a 72 kilowatt. So the base one's the 72 kilowatt petrol motor. And then I think it comes up to 160, I think. So something like that. So
I don't think it's that much. 160 is a bit much. Where's the power?
There's 2 different options anyway. There's one in the mid 200 kilowatts.
But anyway, that's just a generator. That doesn't power the car.
Yeah.
So it's a 72 kilowatt and a 96 kilowatt.
Yeah.
So they're the generators. But what powers the car is in the 2-wheel drive version, it's 160 kilowatts.
Yep.
So it's the same amount of power as the RAV4 hybrids.
Right.
Although the RAV4 4-wheel drive hybrid reaches 163 kilowatt, but the CLU 4-wheel drive hybrid reaches 238 kilowatts, so substantially more power.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like a really nice one. I always like a bit extra power, Ian. Extra power is always good.
So all that extra power comes from the electric motors. All that power comes from the electric motors. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got to stop thinking about petrol motors actually driving the car, and the petrol motors are purely there just to charge the battery, which drives the car. Is that correct?
Well, they sometimes just produce the electricity to drive the car.
Yep.
If you think of the Nissan X-Trail E-Force, as they call it, it doesn't even have any substantial battery, but it drives the car entirely with electric motors, but they get their power from a gasoline engine generating electricity because it doesn't have only a kilowatt
So
hour
that would
battery.
be the same as locomotives, isn't it? Locomotives do that. They have a diesel motor.
Locomotives don't have any real battery at all.
Yep. Yeah. So and they use the diesel motor to run the generator, which drives the wheels.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So
starting to get the head
power of a locomotive.
Yeah. Yes. So a lot of people. So we got that model coming out, and I think the price is going to have to be similar to the Atto 3 or less. Otherwise, people will just. If it was me, I'd still buy the Atto 3, mind you. I'm not a fan of hybrids at the moment, but I could be changed. My mind could be changed, so I've got to have an open mind with this stuff. But yeah,
I mean, I'd be tempted if it had enough range to drive for 2 hours on the highway on electric power.
Okay, so
because then, if I could drive for 2 hours on the highway without using the gasoline engine, then if I stop for a charge and something goes wrong or there's no charges or whatever, I can then drive on gasoline. But if everything went perfectly, I'd drive on electric all the time.
Yeah. So I think they're quoting like 100 to 150 kilometers of range. Is that correct on the battery only?
Yeah, 100 to 110 to 150, but I think that's maybe NEDC.
Very
so it's not highway. It's not highway range.
Of course. Yeah. So we're talking.
It's a test cycle that's driving at a slower speed.
Yeah. Okay. So we're probably going to be a bit. So So in order for that to happen, so what size of the battery is going to be in the CLU? I think
they're going to be 18.3 kilowatt for the base model and 26.6 for the top spec.
26. Wow, 26. That's like half the size of the Atto 3. You'd think they'd be getting 150.
But you don't get 440 kilometers of highway range in an Atto 3 either.
Yeah, true. But I was just going to say 300 kilos of highway range. Half the battery should be close to 150. So
yeah, I mean, these are the specs that what's not known is the fuel economy. Now, the fuel economy of these things is usually very good, sufficiently good that it should be cheaper on the highway than running on electric power.
Aha! Yeah, another win for hybrids because the price of electricity what are we talking? 80, 90 cents now for a kilowatt hour.
I don't know where that is, but yeah, it can be.
Tesla is that price, I think.
Yeah, but that's the highest price in town, I think.
Yeah, of course.
Tesla for non-Teslas without signing up.
We're talking,
what
is it, mid-60s, I think most of them are now, 65, something like that.
Yeah, that's right. So whilst it's cheaper to run an EV around the city on electricity, because there's cheap power, but also the economy of an EV around the city is way better.
Yeah.
Whereas it's worse on the highway, and that's where the electricity is the most expensive.
So I think the big selling point, I mean, BYD want to really, as I think you mentioned, they want to double their sales this year or next year. Is that right?
They're saying they still want to hit double the sales target this year.
Yep.
Now, I don't know what this year is, if it's January to January or or is it June to June in its financial year? Because when you introduce the new models and they don't start shipping probably until June, you've only got half a year for the new models to boost your sales if you're doing calendar year. But who knows what year they're doing.
So I would have to. What do you think it's going to be cheaper than Atto 3? I think that's going to have to be if they want to sell hundreds or a lot of these cars, because I don't know. It's hard to say what the market is, because I mean,
I've seen you can pick up Atto 3s for as low as 45. They may be demonstrators or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you think so reasonable price? We're talking what, 40, 45? Do you think as the entry level price? How does that
I would
compare
say
to
the entry will probably be 42, 44.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it'll be pretty comparable to a RAV4. The problem is it's very hard to work out the price of a RAV4. If you look up the official prices, they're actually quite cheap. But then when you go to the dealer, there's all these dealer preparation charge and all these things, and the actual drive-away price is quite expensive.
Yeah. Yep. That's the bad old days of buying a petrol car. The list price, and by the time you get on the road, it's like $5,000 more. By the time you're paying your dealer delivery, stamp duty, and registration, probably even more. Yeah, it's because stamp duty is quite expensive these days.
So certainly, these things really outsell the RAV4 in China.
Right.
So, and I don't know the relative price. I can check that. I've seen price lists, but it's hard to follow.
Yeah.
It's hard to compare equipment.
If they can get it for $39,950 or something, some incredible number like that, it's going to really upset the Toyota RAV4 crowd, I think.
I would think you'll probably get a price similar to a RAV4 two-wheel drive, but I'm not sure what engine.
Yeah.
But for that, you'll be comparing a cloth trim RAV4 with almost nothing to a pretty much fully spec'd CLU.
Yeah.
Which will then have more power and better fuel economy.
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to May 16 to find out exactly how much this one's going to be.
What they can do. But then the big one will be the top spec, which will really blow the top spec RAV4 away, you would think.
Yeah.
But exactly what fuel economy, because we don't even know what version of the DMI powertrain this vehicle has.
Right.
There's a 5th generation coming through.
Yep.
Now, apparently the first vehicle to get certified for that in China happened after this vehicle was certified in Australia. So it could have been certified with all the specs from the 5th generation.
I should pop some photos up, shouldn't I?
That's the Shark.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. That's great. So we've spoken enough about the CLU. Yeah. So now and then we want to go on to the second model that's coming out this year. And this is probably the one that's going to probably really have a big impact in the market, I think. And that's going to be the BYD Shark. So
I don't know. I think they both could have a big impact depending on how they're received, and this will be out later.
Yeah.
But it's officially unveiled in China this week. They've now declared it is officially called the Shark, at least in China, and assumedly they'll keep that same name. Well, in fact, all the press release announcements are all in English, because this is, although it's being officially announced in China, it's really an export vehicle. It's not that suitable for Chinese situation.
So this one's going to be the DMO, is that correct?
This is DMO, not DMI.
And
so DMI is absolutely about economy, even though it's pretty powerful. But DMO is more powerful. So the specs are that this is supposed to produce 365 kilowatts.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's
I don't know. So I'm not sure what power petrol engine it will have, but it'll probably have the similar petrol engine, which I think is about 120 kilowatts in the other DMO version they've got. The other DMO vehicle produces 505 kilowatts.
Oh, Yeah, that'd be that. Oh yeah, that'd be a massively powerful car. That one.
That's a massively powerful car.
Yeah. Right.
This
Yeah,
is
we better stick with
from that,
365.
but still, sorry?
I think we better stick with 365 kilowatts first of all.
No, that's what it's been said this will produce.
Yeah. So, do you think is there going to be different models, or is it just that one?
We don't know.
365?
Well, we think there's only one power spec.
Yeah.
The DMO has not appeared in two-wheel drive, but it's only appeared in one vehicle before. DMO is a new powertrain.
So it'll be a four-wheel drive ute with 365 kilowatts. So 64. So yeah, that must be what other utes have that much power? That's got to be right up at the top of the.
Well, it's more powerful than the most powerful Ford Ranger or Hilux.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting thing to see what sort of economy they get. It's not as economical as BMI, where the latest they claim on the highway can get less than 3 litres on the highway. And that's once it runs down to... Now, the way these work is that there's a set level, and when the battery gets to that level, the combustion engine kicks in. You can't flatten the battery until you run out of fuel.
Yep.
So you've always got reserve battery power.
Yep.
Because, for example, going back to the CLU for a moment, where we've got more specific figures, the one with, 268 kilowatt or whatever it is, 238 kilowatt, only has a 96 kilowatt generator.
Okay.
So when you put your foot down, it's got to have some battery reserve until you lift to supply the power until you lift off. Now, obviously, if you were drawing 238 kilowatt, that should take the vehicle up above 160 kilometers per hour. So you're not in Australia going to keep doing that.
Yeah, because I think is it correct to say if you average out your usage, most cars fall into per 30 to 60 kilowatts per hour of usage. Is that a good way to look at it? So that 100 kilowatts is a lot of headroom.
30 is a lot.
Yeah, 30 is a lot. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
but
it depends on speed.
Yeah,
it depends on speed. If you're traveling at 110, then 30 is a lot. If you're traveling at 130, then 30 is fair enough.
Yeah, because some people are worried they're going to run out of, like, if they tow a load, they're going to run out of power because they'll be consuming.
Well, there is a limit to the speed. If you're towing a load and you want to drive, when you're in the Northern Territory, where it's legal, well, I don't know what the legal speed for towing is, but there's areas where there's no speed limit, as I understand it at the moment still. So if you want to sit at 160 and tow, then you're probably into constraints.
Yeah. Yeah. But in general, I mean, obviously, if you're towing, it's going to be around you wouldn't want to be towing more than 100 kilometers an hour. So I'm sure they've done the sums and the calculations.
You tow your limit of trailer at 100 kilometers an hour without any problem. The limit of trailer weight that you can handle. This is with the CLU. We haven't seen what comes out of it, but you're probably going to have more generating power in the in the ute because it's designed that you might be driving through deep sand and things like that. So that's the reason why the whole powertrain is different.
Right. And the four-wheel drive, how many electric motors does it have? Is just one at the front, one at the back? Is that?
Yeah, one at the front, one at the back. This is both four-wheel drive versions have one at the front, one at the back. The CLU four-wheel drive, and DMO always has one at the front, one at the back. Yep.
I see. And with these hybrids, there's actually no gearbox, is there? It's just a one-speed.
DMO, no, there is some sort of, gear ratio variants.
Yep.
But DMI, no.
Okay. All right. Oh, well, it's all very new and very interesting. I find it amazing how car tech.
So
well,
DMI has no gearbox. It's basically that when cruising on the highway, it has a mode where you can connect the gasoline engine to directly drive the wheels at one speed ratio only, and it only works within a certain bandwidth of speeds. Otherwise, you're back to electric power and generating the electricity with the motor. The batteries gets down to about 20% or so.
I see.
So you can set a limit where you're driving and using electric until the battery gets to a certain threshold, and then your gasoline engine's going to be doing it.
So that's car number 2. So the next one is my favorite. It's the one in the background here. It's car number 3, which is, has it been confirmed yet that we're getting the BYD C-Line?
C-Line 07? Because there's a C-Line 05 and a C-Line 06. The first one coming out is a C-Line 07.
Yep.
Which I believe that's the picture of, because it's the only one we've seen pictures of.
Yeah.
And that is also released for the first time publicly this week. But there's been photos of it before and renders of it before officially, which there hadn't been for the Ute. Although the Ute, they've now announced formally that it's coming and that it's going to be called the Shark. But this has been in the works for quite some time. So, but there's still details we don't know about it.
Yeah.
It seems to be basically the same as the Song L under the skin.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe, who knows? Maybe we'll get DMI 4.0. Not DMI. Sorry, E-Platform 4.0.
Yeah. That's the more higher efficient, more efficient batteries. Is that the third? The next generation of the.
No, it's more integrated platform. So battery-wise, we may get the newer batteries, which are about 20% more energy dense. Who knows? The specs will come out officially, I think, this week.
Yeah, because I can't believe that they're saying like when you expect an increase in battery technology capacity, you might be expecting, I don't know, 5 or 10, but 20%. That's a massive gain.
Well, it's called the Blade Battery 2.0.
Yep.
So it's a whole new version of the battery rather than incremental step.
Yeah. So I find it amazing that they can bring out a new platform and say, oh, we're getting a 20% extra out of batteries in a short period, in one version, which is, I find it.
Well, it's been out for a couple of years now.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
In fact, I think it came out in 2020 originally.
Oh, okay.
The Blade battery very first came out in the Han, I think.
Yep. So BYD C-Line 07 sometime this year, probably next year, but I think everything's getting slowed down. And then we've got one more.
Well, it's still coming for this year, but of course there is this question of how they define this year. But it seems to be on that one they are saying in calendar year.
Yeah.
And if this is also, which it seems to be, an export priority vehicle, then it makes sense that it could be available this year. Big mystery is what the fourth one will be.
Yeah, that's
so. This has been the C-Line 07 has been confirmed for New Zealand.
Yep.
Now things have been confirmed for New Zealand and not quite happened on schedule before. I think wireless CarPlay was confirmed for New Zealand a lot earlier than it's now arrived in some cars, but only just recently. I haven't got it.
The Android version.
No, sorry, wireless CarPlay.
Apple. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's been, that'll be a good one to come in. So
that's been seen and shown in cars in Latin America now.
Okay.
So It's just rippling through it, so it works.
Yep. So in a month or two, we should get it in Australia, do you think?
No, I would think so.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah,
No,
that'll make a lot of Apple people happy. Yeah. So is there any speculation on what the fourth car is going to be? Do you want to have?
There's a lot of speculation.
Yeah, we might just leave that one because
speculation is one of the main speculation vehicles are there's three, I think, that people have talked about. The Seagull, which is also called the Dolphin Mini in export markets, but hasn't been seen in right-hand drive yet.
Mm-hmm.
The Ute has been driven around China even in right-hand drive versions, and it's been in Australia in right-hand drive, so it's been in right-hand drive for a while.
Yeah.
But there's no. The Seal U is the only thing certified for Australia so far. I looked on the database of approved vehicles, and it was with the latest update at the end of March. But there's no Ute yet or anything else. But so the Dolphin could be one. Another one is the slightly smaller version of the Atto 3, which is called was the one up in China.
Yeah. Oh,
well. No, they could call it the Atto 2 here.
Yeah. And the next thing I want to mention too is because BYD are expanding so much. I think they mentioned that. I think they're being a bit optimistic here, but they're saying they're going to have another 70 dealerships by the end of this year or something like that. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, I've heard them say these numbers.
Yeah.
Now, it's not that hard to do if they're existing dealerships. If you've got to build them, it's a problem.
Yeah,
but if you're
change the name.
And I mean, they work with the Eagers dealer network, so if you've got a brand that that they think, well, let's share these showrooms, you can do it fairly quickly.
Yeah, because I do feel that a lot of people who live like 300 or 400 kilometers from a dealer, I don't think that's there's a lot of brave people out there buying cars where they have to go 300 or 400 kilometers for a service. So hopefully all their prayers will be answered with all these extra dealers.
Well, they're not going to get that 2-year target of reaching 50,000 vehicles a year without a lot more dealers, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there well, that's
they're
all.
Planning to be a top 10 brand within 2 years in Australia.
Yep.
Basically, 10, I think they're planning on being a top 10 brand in most markets in Asia, Middle East, Africa. Basically, other than EU, where they're going a bit slower because they've got car manufacturers that could put tariffs on, and America, and Canada and USA. I mean, in North America, they're going gangbusters in Mexico, but slow across the border. I think they want to tease the Americans with what's available in Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah, because I did read some figures about other car companies, how long it took them to get to the top 10. And it was like no 10
one's
years
done
plus.
It in that time.
Yeah, that's right. They'll be the first. So it's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, I think our roads are going to be filled with Chinese cars very shortly. So,
well, MG's in the top 10 already, or SAIC, or SAIC, depending on how you pronounce it.
Okay.
They're in the top 10.
Yep.
But they're pretty cheap cars. The MG4 is quite a decent car, but most of their cars, when you sit in them, you can tell they're cheap cars.
Yeah.
But they come at a low price. So these won't be priced quite as low as the MGs. but the build quality is a lot higher.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not priced as low as MG in China, and they sell MG about 10 vehicles to 1.
Right.
BYD versus MG.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised that BYD. Oh well, I don't know the Chinese market. Everybody says it's really competitive, but BYD seems to sell more cars than most other car companies in China. So they must be doing something right.
They came from outside the top 10 in 2020 to by, 2019 they were outside the top 10. Then they hit position 7 in the top 10. Then position 3 the next year, and then position 1 the next year, overtaking VW had been the number 1 brand in China for over 10 years. I think more like, it's getting close to 20 years it had been the number 1 brand in China, and Toyota had been number 2 for quite some time. They leapfrogged both Toyota and VW to be the top brand. So the top 3 in China now are BYD, then VW, still then Toyota.
Yeah, interesting times, and I wonder how many people will be buying the hybrids. Will they be using the DC chargers, fast chargers? Do you think, Ian, to charge their cars, the batteries? Is that how it works, or you can do that, or you? It's not
I believe you can. I believe you will. Yeah, you'll be able to do that. But whether you would, I would think that, do you stop somewhere? If you stop somewhere on the highway and there's a charger there, why not? But is it cheap enough to bother if you can't drive the whole way and you're going to use gasoline anyway? I'm not sure how much you do it. But if you've got solar at home, or you've got, free charging at Woolworths or something, then you do it. And around the city, you could be driving electric. And I mean, if you've got the situation where you're in a home and you can charge at the moment, then you charge at home. But if you think, well, I'm not sure the next home I move to will have charging at home, and the ability to have a plug-in hybrid would be powerful. Yeah. And I look around the streets around here, and half the vehicles seem to be parked on the streets at night.
Right. Yeah, I still manage on the 10 amp charger. I find it still not a problem at all charging at home on the standard power.
How many vehicles where you live are parked on the street all night?
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
So they pretty hard to even use the 10 amp charger for those ones.
Yeah, I guess.
If you've got the 10 amp charger, then it's going to be cheaper than filling up with gasoline around the city.
Yeah. Anyway, I might.
Cheapest of all.
Yeah. Well, hybrids mightn't be that bad, but yeah, I kind of feel that, like, I think maybe 20% of people will probably get into battery electric, and I think some people, I don't know why, but they prefer hybrids, and I guess that's a different market that I'm not really aware of, because I'm a full electric sort of person. I like the full electric car, but
I drive full electric. But if you can't charge at home, then I'm not sure I'd be confident to go fully electric. Yeah. I actually rarely do charge at home, but the fact I can is very important. And on the highway, if you're the sort of person who doesn't stop for a break after 2 hours, basically an EV forces you to pretty much stop for your break of 15 minutes or so every 2 hours at least. Yeah. And if you don't want to do that, and I know people who don't want to do that, they just drive for much longer than 2 hours, and when they take a break, they grab some food to eat in the car. Yeah, I used to be like that. But I've changed my ways. So now I'm a more relaxing driver. Yeah, I've been forced to, but it's okay. I enjoy driving that way more now, stopping every 2 hours and taking it easy and not being in such a rush and doing all the Well, that's before EVs anyway. So
what's that?
I did that before EVs anyway.
Yeah. We all had our. I think when we had our petrol cars, we just filled up as quick as possible and got to our destination as quick as we could. Where now we're in a position where we can't do that, and then your just mindset just changes, and you actually I enjoy driving more now because of that. So it's actually not.
I only used to refuel every 2 hours in Germany.
All right, yeah, autobahn.
on the autobahns, you can't get enough fuel to drive more than 2 hours.
Yeah,
at the speeds you can drive.
Yeah.
At those speeds, the fuel gauge, you can watch it go down.
All right, Ian. Well, that's all I wanted to talk about tonight. I just wanted to just trying to ask you about all this exciting BYD news, and hopefully, yeah, you've answered most of my questions. And so let's just hold out until mid-May, May 16, and see how the CLU goes. And yeah, looking forward to seeing it
on the Ute before then too. So the CLU, and then what number 4 is, who knows?
Yeah. Okay, well, it's exciting times in the Australian car market, and let's see if BYD can do what they promise, or not what they promise, but let's see if they can actually.
Well, they did promise to have double the sales and have 4 models.
Yeah.
So they have promised a lot, and 70 dealerships.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't think they're going to deliver on everything, but let's see how they go. But anyway, it's been great conversation tonight, Ian. Thanks for being on the show. And if anybody hasn't looked up Ian's website, One Finite Planet is an absolutely amazing work goes into his site, and I wouldn't want to be doing the research you do, Ian, because I'd have no bloody time left with my life. But if you enjoy it, why not?
All right. Okay.
No worries. Thanks again. All right. I'll see you in the next video.
Okay. See you later.